Hey there, we're Mike and Heather, and over the last year and a half, we've been on a journey to visit all 50 states in the United States. We visited 49 of them in our Ford Transit Connect micro camper van named Appa.
Throughout our journey, we've had to learn, sometimes the hard way, about what fits in their van, what works for our van, and what doesn't. And as we were taking out all of the different things in our van because we're currently home right now, we figured we'd make a video on the topic to show you everything that we've been traveling with for the last year and a half and everything that fits in this van. First, we'll start by showing you everything that fits on the outside of our van.
Space is absolutely a premium in any van life adventure, but a little bit more so in this tiny van. We have to make the best use of space possible, and for us that's meant putting a lot of things on the roof where possible. So this roof rack came with our van, and we get a lot of questions about it, but we don't exactly know where the person we bought the van from got it.
We did find a very similar one on Walmart that I'll include in the link below, and that's where I'm 99% sure that we got it from.
Yes, but the roof rack has been absolutely amazing in the way that it's allowed us to mount a bunch of different useful things on the van. We have an awning that we're able to break out on really sunny days or rainy days to give us some shade or protection from the elements. We have two 100-watt solar panels that provide energy for our lights, refrigerator, and max air fan, which is also mounted on the roof. And we also have a Yakima road shower that provides 4 gallons of water for us to get cleaned up when we need to.
Moving to the inside of the van, the first thing that we're gonna grab out that we've already kind of untucked from underneath the bed, our tarp, to be able to lay everything on. But yes, we did travel with a tarp just in case. I don't really know why, but it felt like a good idea.
Yeah, it didn't take up an enormous amount of room, and we thought if we ever are outside of the van sleeping or anything like that, it's better to have and not need. We ended up not needing it though.
Yeah, I think our original idea was for the shower in the back if we were ever in a place that we needed it. Oh, we did use it once for that.
That is true, actually.
Yeah.
We
We put it up behind the 2 doors so that way we could shower in between it. Where were we? It was on our route one trip.
It was in Georgia. We had just gotten off of Cumberland Island, strung this up over the back of the van, and were able to get a somewhat private shower.
That was before we had the Planet Fitness membership. Real game changer. But we're just gonna set this off over to the side. That way we can put all of our things on it.
Just as a disclaimer, we have started clearing some of the things out from our van, but this is the majority of what is in the van at all times. So starting with the driver's side door, this is a pocket that is really great for storage, and we try and maximize any of the available space because, like we said, space is a premium when you're doing van life. So on this side, we have a sponge that we use to wipe condensation off the windows. This is especially useful in the winter. If that's not enough, we also have a microfiber pack towel. This one's really small. It was marketed as though you could use it after a shower, but it's way too small and not absorbent enough for that. So we use this to clean up spills or wipe any excess moisture off of the windows. Together, these have been really great for being able to get started in the morning and get on the road without having the windows clear from the defroster. We have bear spray, which we used a ton in our hiking and excursions in Alaska, as well as some other places where there's bear activity.
Well, we carried it. We didn't have to use it.
That's true. We've never actually sprayed any of the bear spray we have, and we have like 3 cans of this in the van in different spots. We always brought it with us to be safe, but we've never had to use it, which is probably a good thing. Yeah, and then we also have a knife. We've never had to be in a situation where we've needed a self-defense tool, but it has more often than not been used to open packages and
snacks,
other kinds of things like that. Never for self-defense, but we have it, I guess, just in case. Additionally, we have a few things that are more technologically related. We've tried a few different options for cell phone mounts. This being our first one. It worked okay, but because it was always horizontally mounted, it didn't give the best view of the map at all times. So we turned it into a place to store little knickknacks. One from our Pacific Coast Highway trip.
Yeah, we finally found Bigfoot.
And another one that we got along Route 66 in Tulsa. So these have been sort of driving companions. And we also have a cell phone mount that we attach to the air vents. We also make use of, again, any storage spaces in the van usually get loaded up with stuff. These have cords and other things that we need to just grab and reach for. This one is an aux cord. A 2013 van doesn't have Bluetooth in our case, so to make sure we have music and things like that, we have an aux cord as well as other charging devices and cords usually up here. Because space is limited, we use every available bit of it, including underneath the seats and behind them. So we don't have a designated space in the back of the van for shoe storage, so all of our shoes go underneath the seat. We usually travel with a few pair, and that includes sneakers, hiking flip-flops for warmer weather, and behind the seat are hiking shoes. We also bring shower shoes for public showers, but we're wearing them currently.
Moving on to this side of the van, same thing with the shoes. Actually, mine aren't in here at the moment, but I think my hiking shoes still are in here. But usually I would have my sneakers hanging out in the front, my hiking sandals in the middle because they pack the flattest, which means that the seat can still go back and forth over that. And then my hiking shoes as well. But more fun, we do have seat covers that make it a little bit more boho, as well as a steering wheel cover. And then on my side, that is more of the grab and go accessories that we may want without digging in the back. So if we're going out on a hike and we need sunscreen or bug spray, we have it in an easy place to be able to grab it instead of, again, having to figure out where we shoved it in the back. We also have lotion, mouthwash for when you can't brush your teeth right in the morning and you have to go find a place where you can actually do that. And then we have 2 umbrellas. I think I'm the only one who's only ever used one. And then foot spray, because
no one wants stinky feet.
Yes.
In a small van.
Especially in a small van. On the visor, we usually had our stickers for the back of our van of all the different states we went to, but it's now full, so we don't need that up here. We do still have our stamps. They're currently Christmas themed because we did send postcards back to our family every chance that we got. Also on the visor is a mirror to be able to get ready in the morning. I like this because it's a lot bigger than the stock one that came with the van, and it even has some zoom functions if you really want to get in there. And then my grandma gave me this like
pin,
good luck charm visor thing. I don't know, it's been in my car since I turned 16, so I threw it in our van as well. Also, we have our national park pass that always is hanging there, unless it falls down when we're putting reflectics and we lose it, because we've definitely done that a couple times. In our glove compartment box, we have binoculars, which comes in handy when we are in those national parks to be able to spot some wildlife. We have our national parks passport, which definitely have to add more stamps there eventually.
We have a lot of stamps though.
Yeah, on this side, look at all those. We could use more though. We have our book, owner manual, which thankfully we didn't have to get in there too much, but mostly when we have to change out fuses.
Yeah, it's been nice to have fuses, or if any dash lights come on that we need to like figure out, stuff like that. Again, not anything we dealt with a lot, but usual car stuff.
Yes. Hand warmers, because we just got back from Fargo in Michigan in February where it was quite cold. We didn't use any of these, but we definitely thought it was going to be a lot colder. Lots of napkins from all of the various eating out. And then these little bags, we kind of have these sprinkled everywhere throughout our car. They're supposed to repel rodents and be like safe to like smell or like be around. There was a mouse in here that we had to figure out how to get rid of before we went to Michigan and Fargo. So we went and bought a bunch of these, and thankfully it's worked so far. In this center area here, Mike said that we have our aux cord up there, but we also keep our sunglasses, and that kind of ends up being a little trash area with little wrappers. Down here is our coin bag for all of the coins for doing laundry. Next to the visor, we have a backup camera. So this is a little clip monitor. This we had to buy because our van doesn't have back windows. We didn't have a mirror here, so this is a really cheap one that we got at AutoZone for like $7 to be able to clip on the monitor for our backup camera. So when we do reverse, an image comes up in this little section here that shows you what's behind you. We have a little basket that sits in between our 2 seats that acts as a little bit of a catch-all. So it has my crossbody bag, Mike's crossbody bag, and a lot more cords. Our Jackery, which is our battery, only has 1 spot to be able to plug in 12-volt batteries, as well as our solar power only has 1 spot. So by plugging this into the Jackery or in our solar power, if we do need multiple 12-volt batteries at once, it comes in handy. These usually sit underneath our bed, but we were taking them out and we're like, oh no, those are important because we always keep them. This is the extra cord for the refrigerator. It works off 12-volt or household plugs. Right now we have it plugged into the inverter, so we don't need this one, but if our solar ever runs out, we need to plug it into the Jackery. It's always good to have backup options. And then this is the Jackery cord, which is usually plugged into our van and always charging our Jackery. But we always have to make sure that we unplug it at the end of the night because we have killed our battery by leaving the Jackery plugged in a few times. You live and you learn.
This was just a little basket that we added here because it's an open space that we wanted to make use of, and having a catch-all ended up being a great benefit for just organization.
And it's very moldable, so you can just kind of shove it there and it works great. As you're entering the van from the side, we have our refrigerator, which again has the option to work as 12 volt or the household electric. We have a little thermometer here that we keep on the back of the refrigerator to be able to keep track of the different temperatures and all of that. Honestly, we don't really look at the temperature too much unless we're just genuinely curious about how hot or cold the van is at that point in time. So that's why it's kind of tucked back there. Additionally, it's part of the build, but also something that's technically in our van that we bought, is this pop-up sink. But we have taken it out of the van when we have the space to be able to do dishes outside of the van as well. In addition to this sink basin, we also have a USB rechargeable water faucet, which pumps up water from our 5-gallon tank within the cabinet. Now let's go inside.
If you've seen other Ford Transit Connects, you've probably seen an additional overhead shelving unit built in. We aren't any different, and we built one of these and have really made a great deal of use of it. So in the overhead shelf, we have usually coats, bulky sweatshirts. It's where we keep all of our clothes. Heather and I have brought usually about 3 packing cubes each, one for socks and underwear, one for shirts, and one for pants. And those fill up that space pretty well. It also serves as a catch-all for dirty clothes and things like that. We have a separate laundry bag that we fill up, and this space gets a lot of use. It's definitely something that we enjoy having. The clothes usually stay towards the front of the overhead shelf, but at the back we have stuff for camping and hiking. We didn't really end up using it as much as we thought that we would, but we thought they would be a good idea when we first went out. So we have trekking poles, which for harder hikes would have been a lot of help, but we never really got to hikes that needed them, or it always seemed a little bit excessive to bring on the ones we did. So,
well, we bought them in Zion after a couple of our really hard hikes because we're like, we're never doing another hike without hiking poles again, and then we just never did another hard hike again.
Yeah, so they have sort of been a space filler. When you need them, they're awesome to have, but we just never really needed them. And we also brought a 2-person tent that stays up here. We looked for, oh, this thing fell down. We thought this would be a great idea in case we ever wanted to sleep outside of the van doing camping ourselves, or if we had anyone ever come visit us, this would be something that they could stay in because our van cannot fit more people than just Heather and I. But we never ended up using it, so it was another thing that seemed like a good idea, but was probably just taking up space along the way.
Behind our LED lights, we have a curtain rod with blackout curtains. There's also 2 fans tucked behind here because we don't have AC in our van, so these have been a real lifesaver on those hot days. When you got that fan going, we each had one blowing on us and made it through those hot nights.
We do have AC off of the front of the van, but we don't have an air conditioner
in the
to
back
cool the back. Yeah.
So typically what we did was crank the AC before we went to sleep, left everything in, and then once it started getting hot, we opened up all the stuff and got the fans going. It works. In this little corner, we have a pillow, but this isn't just a giant decorative pillow. It serves a purpose. We use this as a place that we store our sleeping bag. We have also used this to shove other miscellaneous things in, like especially during the winter time. We've also shoved in other sweatshirts that didn't necessarily fit up there. We just tucked them down at the bottom and put our sleeping bag on top of it. Still zips up fine. So this is a nice little sneaky way of having storage in plain sight. Behind it, which usually sits on top of it or on top of this, is our heated blanket. Usually during the warmer months, we don't bring our heated blanket or this really large pillow. We have a smaller one that we keep our sheets in because you don't need all of this warmth, but definitely comes in handy in those colder months. Behind the pillow, we keep our travel camera bag. There's nothing in it right now because we're using our camera and some of the things we've brought in the house, but it fits perfectly in this little space here, and it's, I think, a popular brand for camera bags, right? It's the Wandered brand.
Yeah, it's really nice because it has a camera cube that you can put in, and that holds our extra lenses, different batteries, and stuff like that. So it's been really useful, and it has a little bit of additional storage space at the top. So
yeah,
I can see why it's a popular brand.
Usually this does remain empty. It's really if we need to like pack up our camera stuff and go on a hike, or if we're taking everything into like a little coffee shop to work with. The majority of our electronics stay in our safe down below that we'll get to in just a moment. But above where we keep our pillow and blanket and backpack is a hook section where we keep a lot of things. Honestly, we usually have more things that we're hanging off it, but these are kind of the staples. So we have 2 packable pillows. They're kind of thin, so we also have our travel pillows that we usually put as a base layer and then our travel pillows over it. There's probably a more space-saving solution, but that's just what we've come up with because we had the stuff and it worked out perfectly fine for us. We have 2 headlamps, which are great on those dark nights that you need to walk to the bathroom. We have eye masks for when you're not having a great dark night and you're sleeping in a parking lot to be able to block out some of those lights from the Walmart. And then a speaker, basically anything that can hang, we've done it. And that's a common theme around our van. We have lots of hooks because, again, space is so important that if you can hang it up and it's not taking up space in the overhead or underneath or in our cabinet, those work wonders.
Now we'll move to what we keep under the bed. When we were designing this as a bench, we knew that we wanted to have space underneath to store additional things. With that in mind, we built everything to accommodate as many different things as possible. But the safe has been really great for peace of mind for storing our most important items. Inside we have a soft shell, almost hard shell thing to hold our external hard drives and memory cards. We have stuff for a GoPro and all of the GoPro accessories that we bring with us for that camera. We have a Nintendo Switch, which we don't play a whole lot on the road, but it's nice to have when we're at a spot where we can kind of hang out and do that. We've played Mario Kart and other games, or I'll play some one-player games on it while Heather's doing things that I probably should be doing. And then we have our laptops. So each of us have a MacBook. Mine's a MacBook Air. Heather has a MacBook Pro. And that we use for work and then doing stuff with our YouTube channel.
Immediately next to the safe in an easy to grab location for when this is pulled out all the way is a portable urinal, which definitely comes in handy. And in order to get to the rest of the stuff, I'll just pull out this light real quick. This light sits underneath the bench with 2 magnets and magnets up to it, so it doesn't actually take up space underneath our bench, but this goes on the outside of our van when we are at a campsite or in a dark location and we want a little bit of extra light if we need to cook or want to play board games. Basically, it just replaces the need for a lantern because it's insanely bright and works about as good as 10 lanterns. Next to the portable urinal is a pop-up toilet and a bin where we keep a bunch of miscellaneous things, such as all of our laundry stuff, laundry detergent, some extra dish soap. We usually use Dr. Bronner's, but when we were at a campsite, we were able to pick up some real stuff, a portable hairbrush, and lots of board games that Mike and I get a little bit too competitive playing against. Okay, back down. We have some instant fire, a fire log. This is actually pretty cool because you don't need a whole thing of wood. You can just keep this in your van and store it, and it burns for over an hour and a half. Also significantly cheaper than most wood piles that we found. And then the rest of under the bench is all tools, so I'll let Mike dig that out because it's a little bit heavy.
At the other end of the bed, we have our little camp chairs. These ones we got on Amazon and are really nice because they pack down super small. We also brought a full tool bag with just about anything you could think of needing on the road. Tools. We have everything from a drill to all sorts of screwdrivers and things like that. It's fully stocked. It's probably something that's not the worst thing to overuse space for, but we didn't need it anywhere near as much as we thought we would. With the way that our build was, there's not much in terms of fixes or repairs or construction you're going to be doing on the road, and the little that we did do could have just been done with a screwdriver. We didn't need all of the extra stuff. So I probably would go through this again and pare it down to something that's a little bit less bulky because this is pretty big. We have a little vacuum to try and keep the van clean. We use a brush and dustpan where we can, but sometimes to get into the spaces, we need something like this. So this has come in handy. And another little tool bag that has stuff for fixing fabric and things like that. So again, not something that we ever used a whole lot. Probably nice to have, but more of a luxury than a need. We're running out of space.
We have mosquito nets on this back door and the side door. These are the 2 doors that we open the most. This one right behind me, because it has all of our electrical stuff. We rarely ever open that door unless something's going wrong. So thankfully, knock on wood, that hasn't been very often. We have this little area here where we keep a lot of our mementos, different postcards and things that I guess we can take down now. We even have our little good luck bag from Salem, Massachusetts, which thankfully has done its job because we haven't had any serious problems with this van. I do recommend having something like this because you do accumulate a lot of cool things that you don't necessarily want to throw out but don't really have another place to put it. And it's really nice to see things all the way back from our Route 66 travels to when we're in Zion and Alaska, and just a really nice reminder of everywhere that we've been.
Yeah,
Disneyland.
It's really great for flat storage. So if you have papers or things like that, having a place to sort of set them, pictures, anything of that like, is really good to have.
I always thought about getting one of those instant Polaroid cameras because I thought it would be cool to put there, but just never got around to it. This little basket we usually have screwed into the wall, but we recently took it out to be able to clean and wipe down all of the surfaces really good. But it's just kind of a catch-all for all the different things, like toiletry things. It usually has my hairbrush, makeup. This is kind of my green bin. Right now the first aid kit's in it, but that's usually down below. And then in the cabinet is mostly where we store all of our food and water and cooking supplies. In this top left corner, we have two pull-out drawers that we bought off Amazon. They just stick to the top, where we keep our scissors, cooking utensils, an automatic lighter. And in the one all the way to the left is more of like the office supplies. So we have lots of extra pens, Sharpies, extra paper, another instant fire starter. So yeah, those drawers have come in handy to collect different small things. We have our outdoor camping stove. We have our little scrubber for cleaning dishes. We have another one tucked back here too that falls. Let me try to grab that out. This is for the really tough stuff. Usually in this cubby there's food crammed in there. Over here is where all of our pots and pans are and different plates. So we have 2 plates, 2 Yeti cups, which we also use as bowls, a place to store all of our cooking utensils like our spatula, big spoon, all of that, knives, yes. Pots and pans for camping. These are nice because they all nest into each other, so it takes up minimal space. We have a collapsible tea kettle, which we were suggested to get after almost spilling hot scalding water on us every time we tried to dump it out and just using a pot, so definitely recommend this. And then back there we also have a heat shield, which is nice for when you're cooking outside and it's a tad bit windy to stop the flame from going out. Underneath we have our, oh, it's a 6 gallon. I thought it was a 5 gallon. We have 6 gallons of fresh water in here, held in place with a bungee. The line from the faucet runs into the 6 gallon tank. So when this is full with water, when we turn on the faucet, it pumps up through here and comes out there. We also have another 2 gallon one because you can never have enough water, and our air fryer, which we probably used more than our stove. In that corner you can see where we kept the fuel for our camp stove. We would usually travel with 2 extra fuel canisters and they would sit there. This fuel canister sits on top of the air fryer perfectly. That was for our little handheld stove that's currently in the nesting pots and pans. And then in here again is where we store a lot of food. I don't know why we have our dry bag there, but we do. And then we have a lot of reusable Ziploc bags. And that's pretty much it. It's usually mostly full with food, but let's take all this stuff out. On the outside of that cabinet that stores all of our cooking stuff, we have a paper towel holder. We have a little trash can with little trash bags, and most importantly, a fire extinguisher. We've moved around this placement a couple of times, but a lot of you said to make sure that it's on a door because if something does start on fire, you want to make sure that you can get out and then have access to a door to be able to grab it. So thankfully we've never had to use that, but it's in a easy to reach place if we ever do unfortunately have to use it. Moving on. On this door we don't have any storage. We do have a little flip up table, but it's built into the door so that doesn't really count. We have another one on this side, but more importantly we use this door for a lot of storage. This was an after addition. Originally when we built the van we didn't want something like this because we thought it was a little bit of an eyesore, but we quickly realized that we needed to prioritize storage over style, and we tried our best to dress it up with a little bit of fringe, but it's just a shoe rack at the end of the day, but a very useful one at that. So on this bottom we keep a lot of our cleaning supplies. Again, we usually have a big thing of Dr. Bronner's here. We have some fabric disinfectant, make sure everything's always clean and fresh smelling in there. And then we also have some multi-purpose cleaning spray. It's a lot easier to put things on the tarp when you're already outside. In this little pouch we have a lot of our medicines. When this door is closed, it's easy to grab and go, so if you're not feeling good at night or when the doors are closed, you can still access this because our big first aid kit is usually underneath the bench. So this is basically everything that we want in an easy place once it's in bed mode. We have our towels for when we're showering. We keep this here because it closes up against this and they can kind of form around this area, so that way we can still use these pockets. We also have our laundry bags that compact down. They also act as our grocery bags, and then this is another bag. So basically a bunch of foldable bags.
Yeah, shower bags, laundry bags.
That was the word I was looking for. In here is some more bathroom supplies, including a little shovel used to dig cat holes and a shiwi. And then up top we have some face cleanser, some face wipes, and a lot of times this is where we store baby wipes, our toothbrushes, again everything that we want to have quickly to grab and go. Here, another can of bear spray because apparently we can't have too much, another camp knife, and a flashlight. I think that's everything. Usually we stuff a lot more in there, but that's just the stuff we haven't taken out yet.
Last but not least is our passenger side. So in here, we kind of shove in a lot of stuff. The Reflectix goes behind the seat. This is what we put on our windows at night to give us some privacy. It has a blackout side, which is nice because it's a little bit less conspicuous. And if it's really hot, we can flip it to the other side to reflect heat out. So these are absolutely awesome. We bought just a normal one from Walmart, and then we made these to go in the passenger and driver side windows. We have a little step stool that folds down. It's good as sort of a camp table, or if we need to get up to see anything on the roof of the van. We have our inverter, our solar charge controller, and a little monitor that lets us know what the power levels in our batteries are. And underneath this seat is our electrical stuff. Under this space is where we store our emergency car supplies. So we have our NOCO boost, which is something that you can use to jumpstart your car if the battery dies. We have used this
more times than we'd like to admit.
More times than we'd like to admit, for sure. We have an extension cord, which is really great. If we're at a campsite, we can run power off of their electricity into our shore power so we can charge without using our own power. So this is really nice. And then another important thing for van life is a portable air compressor. So this runs off of 12 volt from the car, but we've used this when we had a flat or low tires, and it's just great in the times you need it. So not something that you use all the time, but I wouldn't ever want to travel without this, and definitely not without the NOCO boost. And I think that's it.
Last thing, an air compressor thing that's magnetic, so it sticks on the back of our safe there.
Yeah, so it can let us check the tire pressure. And that's it. As you can see, we have more things than our tarp was able to carry. We definitely make use of the vertical space in the van where we can, with hooks, the shoe rack, under the bed, not just the flat surfaces. So the back of the van is a 4x6 space, and we've done the best we can to maximize storage there and utilizing any storage that came in the van to begin with. We'll provide a link in the description for all of this stuff that you can find if you're interested in any of it. If you have any questions about how we are able to pack all of this stuff in, or more details on any of the things that we've shown in this video specifically.
Like our clothes, electronics.
Yeah, but thank you for watching. It's been kind of a cool experience to see everything that fits in our van, and we hope you have enjoyed it. We'll see you in the next one. I'm living my